Hi, this is Marlon with the tutorial on using your latest setup here at Coastside and Alma Heights. So I want to introduce you to our new setup here. On the top we have our digital snake, which is the Allen Heath AR2412, and above it is a power conditioner. It has a power button on, and inside is another power conditioner, and then we have a main amplifier which is going to be powering our left and right main speakers. Then we have a secondary amplifier that will be running our monitors. We have two monitors, left and right. So let's go over the basic turning on of your system. The way I've set the system up is this bottom rack is connected to this rack, and then this rack is connected to the main switch, which we have behind the stage in the middle. So basically, when you come to power on, you should not have to do anything different from what you were doing before, which means go to the middle of the stage. There's that power button. That power button is going to turn on this unit and this unit at the same time. So I've set this up to be a simple one unit, but just in case it doesn't turn on, make sure that this button is up and this one as well. So that is turning on. Let me also remind you that when you power on your system, you should first start at the back of the room, which is your digital mixer. Your digital mixer goes on first, and then we turn on the amplifier section. And then to shut down, we want to shut down this part first, again at the middle of the stage, and then shut down your speaker. So that's it. I'm going to switch now to a different section because I want to introduce to you your speakers. Hi, this is Marlon, and I'm here to introduce you to your new speaker setup that we have here in Stetson. If we look above us, we have a new speaker hanging to the left, which is speaker 1, and to the right is speaker 2. On the floor, we have monitor 1, which is on the left, and monitor 2, which is on the right. Also in the corner way over there is a subwoofer, which will give us low frequency. Let me talk about these speakers above us. These are great Yamaha. They are full range speakers. They have great dynamic response, great range, and I think you'll enjoy them. The monitor speakers on the bottom, they are also Yamaha speakers. They're a little bit smaller, but they're intended for the performers on stage. And again, that last big subwoofer over there, it's intended to give us that extra boost of low end that modern music will appreciate and modern listeners. Let's go over a couple things. Number one is our monitor. I'm going to unplug it real quickly here. And this monitor weighs about 20 pounds, and it's made of a plastic case, and it's very durable. I really enjoy these things. They have a small 10-inch speaker, which means it's not going to reproduce great low-end frequencies, but it will give us the essential sound that musicians and performers and singers will need to have when listening to themselves on stage. Because remember, these main speakers above us are in front of the performers, so they will only be hearing the back end sound from that speaker cabinet rather than the front end speaker face. So these speakers are very important for the performers. Again, they weigh about 20 pounds, so an average adult should have no problem picking them up. They are plastic. They are not indestructible, so be careful of them. They also have a unique design where they can be laid flat on one end. And so if I lay the speaker on the flat end, you'll notice it's not giving optimal listening experience because literally the sound is shooting at my feet. So what we need to do is rotate it over. And one quick way to remember that is that it has a handle. The handle should be on your left side. If it's on the handle side, it's still flat, but it has an extra angle cut into the shape, which allows us to rotate it a little bit. And that now is giving us an optimal angle because now the speaker is shooting up at my ears. Now, if you have a performer that's standing in front of the monitor, you may need to advise them to stand back maybe a foot or 2 feet, because the more I stand back, that angle is optimized to be shooting into my ear. So if you have someone who is literally singing like this and they say, I can't hear myself, instead of cranking that monitor louder, because the sound that you crank here will eventually get into the house as well. So just advise them to step back a little bit, and they will have a better listening experience. Let's also talk about the cable in the back. This monitor uses a speak-on system, and this crazy fly is going to drive me nuts. The speak-on system is a speaker cable that has a latch and two little notches. It only fits in one way, and once it goes in, you will have to rotate it till you hear a click. Now, once it's rotated and clicked, it's very difficult to remove. So if you need to remove it, you'll need to pull back on the release and twist, and it will become loose. So that is our monitor system. Now, the way these monitors are set up, left and right, is that they are giving a really great sound on the stage. And depending upon how many performers you have, you may want to move the adjustment of them. For example, if the performers are primarily in the middle, you may want to slide them over to the middle. You may want to toe in the angle a little bit to shoot there, or if you have performers over there. And the great thing about our system is if we ever need more monitors, because, for example, we want to spread out our musicians in a long line, we can simply add another one. So that is our monitor system, and in a minute we're going to go to the back and use that. But let me just remind you of one important thing. The monitors are for the performers. The main speakers are for the audience. So, for example, if you have a pastor or a guest speaker, they do not need the monitors, even though they are in a sense performing, but for the most part, they do not need to hear themselves amongst other things, like a musician, music, or other soundtracks. But for the performers, they're going to need to hear themselves. Again, they are behind the speakers, the main ones, so they're hearing the back end of the cabinet, and to have a speaker that shoots directly to them will really help them. In fact, if you see a performer and they start to give you this face and point to the ear and point down there, what they're saying is, I can't hear myself. And if they can't hear themselves, they will feel less confident in their performance. They may play wrong notes. They may have a very disfigured look, and that's not the best thing to have on a Sunday morning is, performers just giving these faces. It makes everybody uncomfortable. So I want to encourage you, as we introduce these monitors, begin to look at your performers. And we'll talk about how to set that up in a minute, but I want to encourage you, use these monitors. Do not overuse them. In fact, there have been times when these things can really pump out loud volume. And I've been in situations where the monitors have been so loud that they have almost replaced using the main speakers. So we'll have to find the good balance of making sure that these are accurate and sufficient for the performers, but they do not overpower the main speakers. Otherwise, we're just creating a lot of sound. So we'll have to be kind of creative in how we do that. But again, you really want to have these monitors support the performers, because then it will enable them to feel confident and comfortable, and will get a greater performance out of them.